Hello everyone. Today I am going to be talking about what I do as a nurse, the pros and cons, experience needed, just to give you a little bit of update of what I'm doing as a nurse now. When I first started this channel, I did a lot more nursing in the OB department of the hospital, the birth center. That was all wonderful, but now I have transitioned and changed jobs. I'm doing something called telephone triage nursing, and it's been about over a year and a half now. I really love my job. Basically, what is telephone triage nursing is when patients call a telephone nurse and they have questions about symptoms, whether they should be seen or not, and then us as nurses, we have protocols to follow, we have rules and regulations that we have to follow, and then on top of that we also have our critical thinking as nurses. And so together all of that helps to form our decision on whether or not the patient needs to be seen emergently, like we're going to be giving them suggestions to dial 911, whether they need to get into the hospital now, like to the emergency room, or their symptoms called to be seen at the doctor's office, anywhere from needing to be seen within 24 hours, the next 3 days, 2 weeks, kind of just depends on, like I said, their symptoms and what they're going through. And then also we give tips and tricks to try at home for home care. So that is basic, very, very basic, what I do as a telephone triage nurse. So the experience required for my job specifically was that I needed at least 2 years experience as a nurse, a floor nurse, either in a med-surg department, or in my case I was working as a birth center nurse. The facility I'm working for was also looking for BSN, was preferred. I had that as a qualification for the job. Of course, you had to have your basic life support. My shifts kind of rotate, so it's considered a variable shift from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 7 to 3, 8 to 4, some 3 to 11 shifts, 4 to midnight. The latest I work is 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Our nurse line is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so we do have nurses that are dedicated just to the overnight shift. Then we all take turns and rotate working weekends. I love my shifts in the sense that some days I don't necessarily want to work early morning, and I prefer that later shift so I can get other things done during the day. Other times I just want to get my work done and over with in the morning, and then come home at night, take care of what I need to do at home with the family. So it is very versatile in that regard. Within the last 3 months, I had the opportunity to work from home, or transition to home. So I am currently filming this video in my home office. So this was such a wonderful added bonus. It really helps being able to stay home and not have to go on the roads during like winter snowstorms. Those are some pluses. Anyways, moving on, I wanted to touch on some pros and cons about this job. One of the pros, of course, being able to work from home, and be able to still see my family once in a while in my home setting, eat my own food, my own snacks, use my own bathroom, or even just being able to not take a shower in the morning sometimes if I'm running late or want to sleep in later. So that's cool. Another pro about the job is the fact that when I first went into nursing, right into that hospital setting, and it was such a specific area that a lot of the other things that I had learned in nursing school with other populations like children and elderly, we kind of just put a lot of that to the wayside because my job was so focused on a certain population. Coming on to work at the nurse line, I get to talk to parents about their kids, elderly, about the ailments that they have or chronic conditions that they're going through. So it's not just so specified. That is a plus. Another pro that I like about the job is that I get to do so much teaching. That was one of the things that I really loved about the job that I had as a nurse on the birth center. I get to teach a wide spectrum of age levels and different intellectual levels, and being able to deliver what I need to tell them or teach them. So those are all pluses for me. And another pro that I found working as a telephone triage nurse is the fine art of charting. Concise, specific documents that usually are one page, very appealing to the eye. That might be a later video that I'll touch or talk on, is how to sum up what the patient is actually saying in just a short sentence or two. Some of the cons that I have working as a telephone triage nurse, of course, one of the big ones is just not having that hands-on patient care. I do love to get to know my patients, even when it's just a second or two, kind of understand and get the flow of how they handle themselves, how they talk. Are they in a good mood, a nasty mood, having a bad day, good day, that type of stuff. And sometimes when you're face to face with that patient, it kind of helps you to kind of gather that information more quickly than being over the phone. The other drawback of not being at the bedside is not doing that hands-on skills that I used to love so much. I didn't really understand how much I would miss inserting an IV into a vein until I wasn't doing it anymore, or giving injections. Those are some really fun things to do as a nurse, and so I don't really get to do that anymore. However, I could still practice my skills if I wanted to. If I ever chose to go back to bedside nursing, those skills I think would be very easy to just pick back up. So I think once you've learned it, kind of like a bike, once you've done it, it kind of just comes back to you. I do believe that I could pick those things back up again and be able to do them successfully. So another thing to keep in mind for a telephone triage nurse is that all calls are recorded and timed. Not all of the different triage hotlines out there are created equal, so different expectations are placed for different nursing hotlines. Telephone triage hotline that I work for, the goal is to have 20-minute, no longer than 20-minute phone calls. So if you can get your telephone call with all of your questions, so all of the triage part of the work of it, and then your education or your recommendation to that patient of what you would want them to do or where to go, including trying to get them initiated with an appointment if needed. And then towards the end of the call, when the call is over, we have about a 4-minute window to chart the entire phone call. Of course, there are exceptions to that. Sometimes we do a lot of help with mental health patients. Those patients may have bad anxiety or a depressive situation that's going on for them, and so those calls tend to take a little bit longer because you're also trying to decipher, is that patient safe or not safe? Are they a threat to someone else, to themselves? And then how to find out what the problem is or the reason for the call, and then how to help them. So those calls can take a little bit longer. Does it freak me out that there's a timer constantly going in the corner of my screen? It doesn't really freak me out. It's just there. It's always there. So if you want to call any bit of my job a bit of stress, it would be just that part of it would be one small little tiny stress, just because you are on the clock, you're constantly being timed, and you want to be as efficient as possible. So training for this job, it took me approximately anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. I think it was a full 12 weeks, so 3 months. Basically, that just kind of starts off with job shadowing another nurse, learning the system, learning how it is that you're finding different things that you need to complete the call, learning how to talk to the patient, learning how to chart. I will tell you, the facility I work for is amazing. I really have never been trained in any of my careers in the past as well as I have at this job. So I felt really comfortable by the time I was done with my orientation or my training period to get out there and start taking calls on my own and feeling comfortable and confident in completing those calls. I think that if you're interested or you want more information about telephone triage nursing, you should go ahead and Google it, or you could put some questions down below in the comment section and I can go ahead and get back to you answering some of those questions. So thank you for watching. You guys all have a good, wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again soon.